Well, more revelations regarding state capture are expected today when former Public Enterprises Minister Barbara Hogan testifies on what happened ahead of her recall from her portfolio in 2010. The Zondo Commission of Inquiry has heard damning testimony from former MPs like Vytjie Mentor, who told how the Gupta brothers tried to influence the daily runnings of the state under former President Jacob Zuma. Hogan was one of the first ministers to raise the issue of interference by the then president. Now, for what we can expect from the inquiry today, we now cross live to our political reporter Mzwandile Mbeje. He's standing by in Parktown. Mzwandile, set the scene for us this morning.
Thank you, Desiree. It's been an extraordinary week. This time, we're here at Parktown, where all eyes were focused on the now former Minister of Finance, Minister Mzwandile Mbeje. So that evidence, Desiree, that he gave to the Commission is the evidence that has led to him resigning, given the nature of the revelations to the Commission. Basically, the Commission, or rather the state capture inquiry, claiming its first casualty in government. So what we expect this morning to happen in the next hour is the former Minister of Public Enterprises, Barbara Hogan. So she hasn't been saying much since she left government, but given what the former member of MP, Vytjie Mentor, said, that she had been in a meeting with the Guptas and she was offered a position of a minister, basically the Minister of Public Enterprises, so if she were to agree to cancel the route of SAA between Johannesburg and India. Of course, we'll now hear from someone who at the time was holding this position. So was there any influence? Was there any pressure? Did anyone really meet with her to say to her she needed to do what perhaps the Guptas wanted? So this will be the opportunity, Desiree, for the former minister really to set the record straight. There's been a lot of speculation as to what she went through, but it will be the opportunity today for her to inform the nation exactly what is it that she encountered, if there is any.
So you said earlier on that she hasn't said a lot. Are there any expectations in terms of what she can reveal today, especially any new revelations? Particularly
with what has just happened. We saw yesterday the minister leave office because of what had transpired in terms of his interactions with the Guptas. Remember, they are the main ones being fingered really in the state inquiry, insofar as wanting to influence government to obtain state tenders and so on and so forth. So we want to hear from the former minister today, Desiree, if really she also was subjected to that kind of meetings or pressure from this powerful family. If she did then have those meetings, so what was her attitude? So what was her response? And she will basically shed light on everything that happened when she was still the Minister of Public Enterprises at the time. So we really are looking forward to her testimony, if perhaps there will be any new revelations, or even, Desiree, perhaps it's possible she may even implicate certain individuals in all of this. So we will hear really when this inquiry resumes at 10 o'clock. It's a very important inquiry, as you would know, Desiree. It's basically looking into whether there was undue influence in the appointment of ministers or the removal of the ministers by people who are not authorized to do that. So as the inquiry goes on and as the judge calls on the nation, on the people to come forward, those who know a thing or two about the state capture, so it will really get very interesting. Desiree, we also had yesterday when President Ramaphosa appointed Tito Mboweni, he also made a call to say they want full disclosures so that the country really can be able to move forward and so that this phenomenon doesn't happen again.
Mzwandile, we're certainly interested in the content, but we also want a sense of occasion. Just give us a comparison. There was so much interest in Nhlanhla appearance at the inquiry. Are you feeling the same this morning? Are there people there who really would like to come through and hear and listen to what she has to say?
I would assume that the interest shown in the Nhlanhla testimony was by and large as a result of him being the sitting minister. And beyond that, Minister Nene was relieved of his duties by former President Jacob Zuma in 2015. And people really were expecting to hear what the circumstances, as far as he was concerned, that led to his firing. So I think it's understandable why there was so much interest then. And of course, if you are the Minister of Finance, that is a very key portfolio in any government because it really touches the heart and soul of the country. So everyone was really looking forward to that evidence. But of course, there is some interest here as well. Well, I can't compare it with that of Minister Nene then, but there is some interest because people really want to see how deep the issue of state capture ran. So if indeed many other individuals have certain versions that perhaps corroborate what may be in the public domain. So that is why there is a level of interest, but not necessarily the same as that of the former finance minister, because the person who will be giving the evidence today is now the former minister, so she's not been the sitting minister.
Thank you so much, Mzwandile, for setting the scene for us this morning as we await the resumption of the inquiry into state capture around about 10 this morning. Meanwhile, political analyst Professor Stephen Friedman says more can be expected from today's testimony.
Vytjie Mentor gave evidence suggesting that Barbara Hogan was removed because she wasn't cooperating with state capture. So I think we can assume that she does have information about state capture and that she will add to the evidence of others such as Vytjie Mentor and former Deputy Minister